I wanted to make a quick video because the Surface Laptop Studio 2 was announced, and I currently have the ROG Flow Z13. The Z13 has the i9 processor. The Surface Laptop Studio 2 has the i7 processor. I think they both have the same number of cores. Performance-wise, they should be fairly similar. I think that the Surface Laptop Studio 2 will outperform the ROG Flow Z13. Maybe not the 4070 version, but it's going to be pretty close between the 4070 version and the 4060 Surface Laptop Studio 2. The Z13 4070 and the Surface Laptop Studio 2 4060 model. That's because the ROG Flow Z13 runs at 50 watts for the GPU plus a 15-watt boost, and the Surface Laptop Studio runs at a 80 watt. So that means that that GPU is getting a whole lot more power, and that actually makes a significant difference. Okay, so now when you're looking at these two devices and you're trying to figure out which one you like better, there's an aesthetic appeal that's very different from device to device. So the ROG Flow Z13's kind of got a cool, badass look that's futuristic, subtle, but not that subtle, not in your face, but it is kind of cyberpunky. The Surface Laptop Studio 2 is kind of bright and professional and clean and kind of says, I'm going to get my work done and it's going to be better than the other person because I care about the quality of my work. So one's a little rogue and the other one's a little conformist in its appearance, or this is my take on it anyway, which I don't dislike either. I like aspects of both of those aesthetic styles. Aside from preference visually, because the preference visually is going to be pretty strong for a lot of people. I know that we buy a lot of things emotively. If something speaks to us on a visual level, we resonate with it. We're like, that looks like me in tech form. And so we splurge and we impulse buy, and it's fun. And hopefully the product lives up to the hype surrounding it and the style matches with what we're intending to use it for. And that's what I really want to focus on in this video. So when you're looking at these two devices, which one should you pick for a function? Functionally, if you're looking at gaming, just gaming, I really think the Z13 will do a fantastic job for you if you want it plugged in. Now, there's a handful of little caveats with the Z13 that I think are important to note. Number one, you can only use the built-in charger. Only use the built-in charger, the stock charger, not built-in, the stock charger. It's the only one that you can use to get the maximum performance. There's a mode called turbo mode, and that will not turn on unless you're using the stock charger, and the stock charger will not work on any plane I've been on. Now, there may be some that have a higher output, but it won't even let you slow charge the Z13, which means that gaming is gonna be very different, and you may not even be able to use your device on the plane for more than 2 hours. So that was really disappointing to me. I could bring two chargers with me, which is also disappointing. I also have some recommendations for portable USB-C power banks that you can use. I'll put links to those in the description, so check those out. Okay, now the Surface Laptop Studio 2, gaming-wise, is going to be very comparable. Now, I haven't tested this yet, so I don't know how they compare in the unplugged arena, but I think they're going to be very close. Battery-wise, neither one of these things is going to last very long gaming. Gaming should be, for the most part, a plugged-in event. There's certain things, though, it can play well, AAA games that it can play well for about 45 minutes to 60 minutes if you're in the performance mode on the Z13. And I would assume that the Laptop Studio 2 is going to be very similar, maybe an extra half an hour. Okay, now, that aside, size-wise, these devices are significantly different and significantly similar. They're both tablets, which means that you can walk around and hold the device in your hand. This is a Surface Go, This is the second generation one. It's very small, and it's very easy to carry around with me. I can easily walk around and hold this for hours. It's not a problem. The Laptop Studio 2 is even heavier than the first one, and that's going to be probably about 3 times the weight, if not 3.5 times the weight of this device of a iPad. So if you can imagine carrying 3 iPads around with you, then that gives you a good idea of the weight of the Surface Laptop Studio 2. The Z13 is smaller. It's got about 1.25 inches less on the height of it. So it's a 16 by 10 device. So it's not quite the same shape as the 3 by 2 screen size on the Studio 2, which is my preference by far. The 16 by 10 is okay. 16 by 9 I do not like at all. But these two aspect ratios are okay. The Studio 2, again, think about 3.5 iPads you're holding. Not the giant iPads, but the 11-inch iPads. The Z13, like 2. Okay, this is 2.6 pounds versus 4.5, roughly. Significant difference in weight. Neither one is a super light, easy to carry around tablet. However, if you're doing a little bit more walking, talking, sketching, that type of thing, the Z13 may be the better choice for you. Now, if you're a sit down kind of a person, like you want to use this in your lap, you want to have a great typing experience everywhere, the Studio 2, better choice. The typing experience with this, it is not a 2-in-1. It's not like the Surface Pro that's got that hinge that extends back. That extending hinge actually makes it unstable on your lap when you're trying to type and you don't have a table. Studio 2, excellent to type with everywhere, everywhere. Z13 is not going to be the same experience. It's going to be hard to type on your lap. Now, here's the biggest kicker for me. The drawing experience, it's not bad on the Z13. It's better than the Surface Pro 7, 7 Plus, not as good as the Surface Pro 8, Surface Pro 9, Surface Laptop Studio, or Studio 2. That said, the experience on the Studio 2 is almost perfect for drawing. Z13 does not have storage for a stylus. That means the stylus can magnetically attach on the outside of the back of the keyboard when it's closed. That is a very risky place. You're gonna lose the stylus if you're putting it there. You're better off just putting it in your pocket or in the laptop sleeve in your bag, but not a super comfortable transition for walking around as a Laptop Studio 2. That is a snug fit, my friend. You're gonna like the way that feels. It's going to feel very secure, and it's a little bit more thought out when it comes to the stylus storage and charging, which happens at the same time. The drawing experience on the Surface Laptop Studio 2 is worth the $300 price difference. It's a significant improvement. The pen and touch is lightning fast. On the Z13, the pen and touch, if you're trying to use touch and the stylus at the same time, which I know a lot of people don't do, but this is the optimal way to use a tablet. Pen and touch at the same time, voice and touch, voice and pen. All of these things in conjunction with each other. The Z13 has a touch lag. So if you imagine that you had an on-screen keyboard, that's on this device, you can see right above my head here. This is the Tablet Pro Studio Artist Pad. So let me show you this. So this over here on the side, this is the Artist Pad. So I have over here modifiers. And if you're using a modifier with touch and you press it down with your thumb and you use the stylus at the same time and there's a lag, one of them feels like trying to type on a keyboard and having 1/3 of a second delay between the keystroke sending, which is super annoying, or having an immediate responsive action, touch for touch, pen for pen. There's no lag. It feels very enjoyable. This is something that I really think the Z13 could fix with an update. I can't imagine why it's not adjustable. However, at the time of this video, it still is kind of a crappy experience. The last two things I'm going to mention, one, sound quality. The speakers on the Studio 2, Studio 1 anyway, from my experience, phenomenal. Best on any laptop I've ever heard. 3 times louder than the Z13. The Z13 I struggle to hear in a number of different places, and I have Bluetooth headphones, so it's not a deal breaker for me. If you're gonna skimp on anything, skimp on that. Okay, I would make that trade for better performance or price. The screen on the Studio 2 is 150 nits brighter, 650, and the Z13 is 500. Both barely usable outdoors. The Studio 2, it may be something that the HDR is what actually kicks that up to the 650 nit brightness and is not a setting that can be just on all the time. I'll have to check that out in the future. So in between these two devices, what do I recommend? The whole nitty gritty shakedown is, if you want a better drawing experience, absolutely do not get the Z13. The laptop studio is the way to go. If you want a portable gaming experience where the gaming is actually really good, really satisfying, and you like a device that's really cool looking and kind of edgy, Z13 is a great device. It will sketch okay. It will draw okay. You can do good artwork on it, but you're going to be a little bit limited in ways that seem to matter a lot to me personally, and may or may not to you. But quality wise, you're seeing a big difference. If you're looking at the Studio 2, it is more expensive. It is not that much more expensive, $200 or $300 if you use the education, student, teacher, parent, military discount. If you don't know what that is, it'll save you an immediate 10%, and buy your device from Microsoft, not from Best Buy, because you will pay for the difference. That said, check out this video I have right up here that talks about the discount, what you need to know before you purchase the Laptop Studio 2. Oh, and the last point, and this is a kicker, when I bought the Z13, there was a problem with it, and it took over 40 days for them to solve it. They lied to me a bunch of different times. It was supposed to take less than a week to 10 days, and it took forever. And they said they fixed one thing and then another. I do not want to deal with their support again. It was a terrible, one of the worst experiences I've ever had. The Microsoft support, they'll send you out a new device while you have the broken one. And like, hey, just return the other one within 14 days and you won't be charged for it. That's the way I want to be treated. All those things said, what is the draw for the Studio 2 and what is the draw for the Z13? Put that in the comment section below. And if you want to learn more about the Studio 2 or the Z13, subscribe to this channel. I've got a lot of content on these devices. This is my wheelhouse, my favorite topic. And I've been doing these reviews for years and years and years. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, stay creative and have a wonderful day.